The Platform. This crazy movie, before we start discussing it, I have to say this is the first time and probably the only time that I legit have not watched the actual movie that we were supposed to watch. The reason being, I did say it in the pre-chat, but I'm going to say it right here for you guys, is because I had a very depressive week where I was seeing a lot of things, a lot of shady things that were happening in America. And it made me really depressed and it made me really sad. And when I saw the trailer of this movie, I was like, my heart cannot take it. So I couldn't watch it, but I'm here present to moderate and to see what everybody thought. And here are your lovely hosts. We got Naomi Guerra. We got JP Ceruno. We got Jason Eccles. We got El Dondino. We got Isaac Valadez. And we got Monica Marquez that's apparently shopping there, like, what, papaya? What the heck is that?
That's a bell pepper.
A black pepper or something? I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself.
It's a pepper,
Oh,
not a papaya.
There you go. It looked like a papaya. And
yeah,
like,
I don't have a cutting board right now.
I'm going to be, because I'm literally in between two meetings, I'm going to be up and down. So feel free, you guys, to take it over. But like we always start, we start with the person that picked this movie, and that was Naomi Guerra. So Naomi, why did you pick this particular movie?
I wanted to add this movie to the queue because I see this movie as a metaphor to our modern world. It addresses many underlying factors like capitalistic greed, overconsumption, inequality, racism, and misogyny. Like, there's this invisible system, not so invisible system, that is out there in the real world, and it's being orchestrated by people in power. So this film is thought-provoking, gory, gut-wrenching, symbolic, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sci-fi thriller that allows you to gain an outlook of how it all can be. What are you guys' thoughts?
Wait, did you just read that, or did you just say that?
I wrote this last night.
Oh,
very chill.
She came prepared, Steve.
Because I was like, whoa, it's like she wrote an essay about this. What?
I do. I think there's 150 words. Not sure.
Homework.
Now I'm gonna have to write one for my week.
Yeah, be a pro.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So what do you guys think? Because I didn't watch the movie. I literally saw the real situation of that whole system happening. So that's the reason I couldn't watch the fake version. But what do you guys thought?
I don't know, Steve. It was a fun movie. It was very lighthearted. Had some great little humor in it as well.
Obviously.
I enjoyed it. It's very thought-provoking. And I'm in this tiny little room, and I had all the blinds down. I just watched it, and I felt like I was in my own little platform. And literally I had to go and step out for like 20 minutes before coming back in because I was like, I need some sunlight and some oxygen. It made me think of Don Quixote a lot. I mean, I haven't, since like middle school or high school, I haven't read Don Quixote, but it was something that throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school, especially in a Latino country, like, you would either have to read it or learn about it and stuff like that. So I was trying to catch all the possible moments that were taken from Don Quixote, or that kind of were metaphors of Don Quixote, as well as in today's time and today's period, right? And example being the main guy, he has a little Don Quixote D'Artagnan look, right? Of the mustache and just a little chin, and throughout his stay there, he starts going more and more like Don Quixote, where he falls into, whether it's paranoia or deep in thoughts and trying to be a good person, which is what, part of what Don Quixote is about. Yeah, definitely enjoyed it, but it was, again, pretty gory at times and very mind-provoking, and I'm still thinking about it. So those are my initial thoughts, but hopefully from hearing from other people, I'll think of, oh, it makes me think of this. So that's all I got to start.
For sure. My first saw, like, literally, I was surprised because before I even saw the film, because whenever we do these, I try to check, like, how much time the movie will run. So, like, to determine, like, how much time will I have to process it before we do the meets. And it's an incredibly short movie. It's, like, only an hour and 30 minutes long. And so I was really shocked by that. And unfortunately, I felt like that's, like, I do agree it's a really good movie, but it might, I think, for me, it kind of detrimented it, but I think it's actually done purposely, where you don't get a lot of answers and too much of the world building of this society. You don't see what the administration is. You don't really know, like, what the administration is about. And you don't really know, like, why is everybody in this hole? Like, some people are there by choice so they could get certifications or degrees or, like, get higher up in wherever they're at. And some people are there purely for punishment, and supposedly it's all part of this almost weird social experiment, and they're trying to break it. But it was just so much coming at me where, I'm not gonna lie, maybe it was me just not being able to catch up with the film. It's one of those films where I do feel like I really should have taken the time to give it a second viewing, because I'm almost certain that I missed a lot during the moments. But oh my god, it's definitely claustrophobic, and it's just so bleak and sad looking. It's I think that's part of the magic of the movie. It's so simple visually, because it's these guys in concrete rooms. Even when you're outside the hole, all it is concrete. Like, there's nothing at all. It's so weird. And the visuals that you do get is either the green light, the red light, or just the food. The food is literally the only color, and you don't get to see the magic of the food until later down in the movie, and just for a brief moment in the beginning. And man, like, I do believe I have to get a second viewing in order to get a more proper opinion of it. I just felt it was a bit, on my end, just a bit lackluster, but it was probably because I wasn't paying attention, to be honest.
I like that Lex Luthor lifestyle that it's in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me. That dark shadow world that's within the walls of the world, you know?
Yeah. And I wish that I got a little bit more of that, because all you get it is from the main character and the lady who also went in willingly, who worked there. You know, like, that's the only bits that we get from there. And I wish that there was more perspective on that, because even the I guess the chefs or the bakers, like, you know that they're in on it too, but it's like, how much do they know? You know, like, that's fucking crazy. Like, who's willing to partake into this thing if it's not straight up a punishment, you know?
What I want to know is, what kind of accredited diploma was this fool trying to get?
Right?
Like, what the fuck? Like, I kind of want that and murder some people. I'm just kidding, not really like that.
Interesting.
But, you know, it's just like, you're able to see an ideology here and how there's the kind of people that are in this world, the ones that are on the top, the ones at the bottom, the ones who fall. But it also shows, like, the fight people, I mean, the people that will fight to survive, and those that are helping others to survive.
Yeah.
So Goreng does that, you know, he's a hero.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll go.
Oh, with Dino or Isaac, whoever.
Well, I thought it was interesting how the old man was, his response to the main character wanting to break up the food and have it for everybody, that it was sort of communism.
Oh, yeah.
and even when they did decide to do that toward the end, there was like a religious undertone represented in that wise man. So they were like, Josie, stop. So there were so many factors that kind of prevent people from living a fulfilling or equal life. And I think that that's true of what we're going through now in our political system.
We're actually seeing shit getting torn down. Christopher Columbus statue is being torn the fuck down. So
yeah,
we're experiencing this right now, and this movie is like a good niche in between to like weave the lies and symbolicness that's around the world. I feel that this movie is very symbolic. Like the sex scene is symbolic. Just because
There's a sex scene?
yeah.
We don't even know if it was real.
It's a sex dream.
Oh.
So dreams are symbolic. I don't know if you guys ever deciphered your personal dreams, but they're a trip. So Carl Jung, I don't know if y'all know about Carl Jung. We use spoken word and written, we use spoken and written word to express the meaning of what we want to convey. So since the character Miharu, she was a bad bitch, she's going floor to floor to find her child. So he has the dream to like, the dream is symbolic because he has the key, which is his penis, and she's the lock. You know what I'm saying? So she underlays this image of being the reason why he does what he does, which is go down each layer of floors to like murder these motherfuckers and make sure everyone's rationing food below 51st floor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like symbolic in some sense. Yeah. That's what I depicted between the lines of this movie.
I'm
Yeah, for
surprised.
sure.
I'm surprised because I guess we're gonna go into spoilers a little bit. That the kid was around, like the kid was real, and it's like, how has the kid lasted as long as this kid did, like all the way at the bottom? I know that they change him, but I'm almost certain, like, because even the administration, she said she called it BS, that there was no way that this kid existed. I was like, how has the kid been hiding this whole time? And how has no one picked up on this kid? Unless that was part of the experiment. I don't know.
I think it was part of the experiment because she's a sign of hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had to rebel against the system to find a sense of hope to the next generation. I don't know. What do you guys think? Jason, what are your thoughts?
Oh, why don't you let Dino go and then I'll go?
Well, I already gave my first thought, so
Okay.
you go.
Well, I'll offer Monica before I go. That's cool.
She might be indisposed with cooking.
Okay. So I'll go. I liked the movie. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. My initial reaction was it reminded me of the 1997 movie The Cube. If you guys have ever seen that, if you haven't, I would recommend it. It's a movie that's similar where these people are in prison, but they're in this cube box, so to speak. And there's like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 people in this box. And it's kind of a puzzle movie, and it's like a mind bender because they have to find a way out of this box. And I believe like every 60 minutes, the box changes shape or something happens and they have to escape to the next room, but they need each other to get through. But it's a mind bender and it's a puzzle. So this movie kind of felt like it was also a puzzle that needed to be deciphered as I was watching it. It's definitely a ton of symbolism in it, almost all symbolism. And none of it is quite literal, only in the sense that it's a film and things are visual. And it's definitely a play on society. Like there's a lot of social aspects to it. I picked up on the communism and the capitalism. The thing that I found in the kid, I wasn't really able to decipher what the kid meant as a symbol in the movie. There's definitely like some messianic stuff going on where like the guy, he kind of takes on this like role of a martyr and savior to try to make sure all this food is distributed, and he does the best he can, only to realize that no matter how well he distributed it, there was still levels deeper. Like the system went even deeper than they were conscious of, and it was like, oh man, like we didn't even know it went down this deep. So there's no way that everyone can get help and service because there's just so many people in dark places.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting, I really liked the old man character that he was in prison with first, because that guy, I thought, really represented humanity as a whole. He was only out for himself. And so much so that once the platform went below, he would spit on it routinely. It's like, so not only do I want what I want, I expect everyone else to be spitting on me. So I'm going to spit on the guy below just because someone's probably doing it to me. I don't know. But who cares about people below? Less than who cares. Let me try to hurt those below me. And I do believe, honestly, that a lot of people are like that. And I'll give you just a tiny example of why I thought that. I have a family member who I remember when I was a kid, well, maybe a teenager, she was pretty upset with the idea of people who worked at fast food restaurants, like minimum wage workers, getting like this giant raise or whatever. I forget what it was at the time, but it was like a major significant bump. And she didn't like the idea about it because those people are making hamburgers and french fries. Why do they deserve to get paid X amount of dollars? And to me, like, I don't know, I never understood why people took that position. Like, why don't you want minimum wage to be raised significantly? Like, are you afraid that these people are now going to be closer to your level? Are they competing with you for resources? But my thing is, if someone works at a fast food situation, that's not the happiest place on earth to work. Maybe you should give these people more money to make them a little bit, give them more pride in their job. And then also, they're serving you their food. I mean, your food. Take care of the people who are taking care of your food. You know what I mean? Like, we expect so much out of the people who get paid the least in society. We expect more out of people who are paid little amounts of money than the people at the very top, like the top level executives. We expect nothing from them, and they get everything. And they take no responsibility if things go bad, generally. You know what I mean? They usually just write it off on the next guy, or like, oh, I didn't know. But you have to know. So that's what I was thinking about as I watched the movie.
So much reason to what you said. That reminds me of when my dad worked at a middle school and he was a janitor, and the fucking principal would go to him and tell him, what should I do in this situation? Why are you asking my dad? He's a janitor. So then my dad would give reason to why you should do it this way. And the dude is like, I didn't know you knew, you know, like, I didn't know you knew the answer to this. And you're just my janitor. And I'm like, anyone can have a role in this society and they're smarter than the fool above. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this movie is just like, to me. And I'm glad I added this to the queue.
Because as small of a cog that your father was probably saw upon, he's still a cog in the machine as a whole. Like, it's all in purpose of the machine of the school. And it's crazy because the guy even tries to do that in the beginning of the film. Like, hey, we actually have to eat only as much as we should, you know, for the people down below. And the old man character, like, he knew that there was no help into doing that. It's like, it's all on your own here. Because I've been lower than this. This is paradise compared to what people down below are, and we don't even know how below it goes until the very end of the film. And I guess it's like right when he gets that privilege that he realizes, you know, like that he now has the power to do something about it, with him and the other fellow who had the same mentality of trying to get the hell out of there, you know. And so their new mentality was like, in order to get out, we have to at least help this place first. But oh gosh, like, it was just so sad because it did reveal like how things really are, you know, like people are unfortunately very selfish, especially when it comes to like just surviving. Because at the end of the day, like, your worldview is basically your worldview. You don't see the world as a whole because you're the one perceiving it. And so, you know, every person on that level was their main character in their story. You know, they didn't see the whole grand scheme of things. And also, like, it's so crazy because, like, just like represented in real life too, the lower you went, the most far gone that you are, which is why the kid being at the very bottom was such a surprise. Because I'm sure, like, by the time that they hit 200, everybody below was dead. Like, there was no life whatsoever. These people, like, they were far gone. And there was no food left to give to them. They probably didn't even bat an eye when they saw people on the little platform going down, you know. It's crazy.
Did anyone else notice that the black guy
He's a hero.
sacrificed his entire self to try to right the wrongs of the entire system. Like he martyred himself. Leave it to the black guy to sacrifice himself to correct everything and then be the one to lose his life over it.
Damn, even in a
Bajarat.
Spanish movie.
That's how that, and that was a big like that's how life is right now. Like it was like visually and just like in the story, because he was probably the one that probably in his society, in our society, probably got the most shit on. He did get shit on.
Yeah.
And
literally.
but he was the one that was still like striving for hope, like still trying to like break out, you know.
And I
give
guess
hope
that's
to
why the
people.
administration paired them together, because he was a volunteer, Garang was a volunteer, and so was the female. She was, you know, volunteered too. But after she kills herself to make sure this fool gets food, at what age? I mean, what number was he on? 171? I think he was on level 171 when this bitch kills herself to make sure he gets fed. So she sacrificed. Then they added him because they knew he was gonna do the, you know, the breakage. Like there's this system and he had to rebel against the system. And since he was the first person to bring a book, it's just like brought a sense of there's more to bringing weapons and money and crazy things. Like how many crazy or random shit did you guys notice in the platform as it was like going down in the montage? Like,
the surfboard, the
that was about
kiddie
to
pool.
say that. The surfer was the most random, like, but why?
there was a mannequin,
Yeah.
the kiddie pool.
Wait, Baccarat volunteered to go in? I knew the woman did, but also she had terminal cancer. That's the reason why she did it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was I missed?
I mean, I feel like he was like the savior or not, or like a messiah, or just like a revelations guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, no, I think he was. Did he say that he volunteered? Because I just thought he was a smart one. I'll take a rope because then we can climb out. Right.
Exactly. So I feel like that's the reason why. Right? It's just my feels, but like it couldn't be go many ways.
Because his whole thing was like, "What God do you believe in?" And he was just like, "Just the one. Whatever, you know, kind of like whatever you believe in, I believe in, so that you can help me." So I don't know if he volunteered, but
because we are all one, and he has that mentality of we're all one, and the people above don't think that way.
I think the best line, or not the best line, there were a couple, but the one where basically the main guy tells, I think it's Baccarat, is that his name? Baccarat?
Yeah, the one who ended up going down with him to the bottom level.
That to go up, you must first go down. And I thought, and he's like, to go up, you gotta go down, right? And then, because after hearing you guys talk, I also thought of Dante's Inferno, right? And the different levels, you know, in it.
Yeah.
And that just added a whole different level to it. And the old Spanish guy at the beginning, you know, that kind of explains the rules. And I mean, the Spanish accents were pretty thick, but it just, to me, that encapsulates what Spanish men are like from like, and I don't know how much Spanish history you guys know, but you know, a lot of it, especially it just starts "sos comunista." Like that's such, I think, a big
Spanish
thing,
way of thinking,
especially from that age. You know, the okay boomers, if you will, from
Fidel Castro mentality.
Well, that, and because they had Franco. You know, from World War II, they had Franco, the dictator that was there for. They've had like all this different unrest also in the past like 100 years in Spain, right? From dictator to kind of dictator to civil war to all these different things. So I feel like this also in a micro level to being in Spain, I think it has a lot of that mentality, right? And makes me think the because you could have done the whole movie without showing the outside, right? And by outside meaning just the room where he got interviewed and like the kitchen, but it just shows the people in charge and like are so adamant and like have such high levels of like, you know, there was a hair in that one budin or whatever, panacota. Yeah,
Right.
the panacota. And, you know, and the fact that they took the time with caracoles to like actually, because it took how long to like, before you can cook them, you have to wait, what, like 7 days or I don't know how many days or whatever to cook them, from what I understand from the old man talking about the caracoles. But just the level of trying to get everything so exact and everything so perfect just to torture people, right? And I think that shows a lot of like all these regimes that have been in power that want everything, or military regimes at time, you know, like everything has to be pristine, everything has to be like just perfect.
I don't know.
And now we're gonna do horrible shit to other people. And not just that, but make our people do horrible shit to each other, because that's how we stay in control, stay in power.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
How many Espanol oradors or oradoras watched the movie in Espanol without? Did anybody watch it without subtitles?
I watched it in English subtitles. I like mind fucking with my brain, English and Spanish at the same time.
Right on.
Yeah, the most Spanish I know is mostly Mexican Spanish. So like,
Oh,
it didn't help. Like even if it was like in Mexican Spanish, I would have still had subtitles. But I was like, no, I'm gonna get lost.
Spanish is difficult. I don't know. I like in my house we speak Castellano, so we proper usted y yo nos vamos a la casa, meaning, you know.
She's better than everyone else, I think. No. She's in the higher level than everyone else.
It's just a form of like, you're my elder and I respect your ass. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, in the actual recording of this, she is in the higher level.
I know. To me, that she's next to me. I watched that in Spanish. First off, I went straight to English, and I was very confused.
Yeah, on Netflix, like I actually got upset. I was like,
there's a lower tone. It's like calmer. There's no suspense. My toes aren't curling in English.
Yeah.
So in Spanish, my toes are like, oh shit, they're telling me so many things at the same time. But that's the power of Spanish.
I did have those. I ended up with putting the Spanish subtitles just to see how it was. But it's funny you bring up the whole Espanol Castellano thing, which takes me back to my one literature professor. She was Argentinian in Paraguay, and we're like, ahora tenemos clase de español, you know. She's like, no es español, es castellano. And made it, and I was like, what do you mean it's not español, it's español? And she's like, no, español makes it from Spain. Castellano is the language itself. And we speak the language, not the people. In the sense of saying, you know, because it's again a colonialism thing. It's the same thing of the preference between Latino and Hispano. Latino is from countries that the languages derive from Latin, whereas Hispano is countries that derive from that were colonized by the Hispania Peninsula, by the Hispanic Peninsula. So it's two very different kind of views. So when you were bringing the Castellano, I was like, yep, I found that out real quick growing up, that we're speaking Castellano and not Espanol. That again, it's just another level. Sorry, I went on a little sidetrack.
Thank you for that. That was interesting. Can we talk about? Can we shoot to the end of the movie and talk about what you guys thought the ending meant or was about, or what happened?
It was definitely a trip.
Wait, I want to know what Steve thinks the end of this movie is before we all talk about the end. From what you've heard, Steve, what do you think happens at the end?
I think at the end of the movie, just based on what I've heard, because I literally been between this meeting and another meeting that I have, so I've been like, so what I think now have watched the movie, only seen the trailer. I think they went all the way down, and maybe a fight broke out, and but they were like, no, we're trying to help, we're not communists. And then they all gather the food together and they say, you know what, we're gonna go all the way up and throw this food that been spat on for so much time to everybody at the top, and then piss on their faces and then escape. That's what we're gonna do. So they all ganged up together, the people that joined the resistance, and then they went up and they did that. That's my guess.
So you got the Blu-ray and you saw the deleted stuff, huh?
It's pretty close. You kind of mixed El Hoyo and Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this movie does remind me a lot about Snowpiercer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just like how it's that simple, like things from A to Z. Z sucks ass, and A is like that's where everyone's on top. But unfortunately, they're all forced in this situation, so it sucks.
All right. Oh, so now I guess to Jason, what people thought
About the ending.
Yeah, about the ending.
It was. I was actually. I did not expect it to end the way that it did. I did kind of hope for him and the other guy to actually do make it all the way to the bottom, and then make it up to the top. I was in my mind thinking that this film was going to end with them finally making it to the top and getting out, and then it would just cut to black. So I did not expect them to find the kid. I thought the kid was made up in the lady's head. I didn't expect the kid to actually be a character. And I almost thought that it was an illusion at first because the kid actually seemed pretty okay. Like the kid was in decent shape and decent condition for being at the very bottom level for so long. And him allowing his illusions of the old man and the previous people that he met before to sacrifice himself for the kid, because at the end of the day, yeah, the kid's the message, the food was the message, not necessarily the people. So I was shocked. I was like, oh fuck, okay, he literally did all of this, and he's just, I don't want to say give up, but just let whatever that message was to be sent without him being there. And I was really surprised by that. And it's weird because the movie, as soon as the kid goes up, cuts to black. And I was kind of expecting that. But at the same time, I guess from my previous thoughts where I felt a bit lackluster in a lot of the stuff, I was hoping for more. I did want to see the resolution towards the kid, even though it's not really needed in this story. You could come up with your own. The point is, they got the message across. Whether or not what happens with that message is, I guess, up to the viewer. But yeah, it ended in a way that I did not expect it to. But yeah, it was a pretty good ending.
I like the open-ended ending. It leads to a great conversation, like now. I do wish to know more about how the kids survived. I wish there was a second movie to this, to know how the kid got there. How did the mom separate herself from her child? Was the kid the item or option she was able to take into the tower?
I didn't even think about that.
So it's just so it's just I don't know, there's so many layering factors in this movie that just wanted me to show you guys, and I'm glad I did.
Does anybody feel confident that they know, because I don't have an answer, do they know what the message is? The kid is the message, but what is the message? What does the kid represent? What is
Hope.
Hope, the future. the only way to resolve this is with the future, you know, the kids.
Educating the next generation to make sure that they know what's up, you know, this
Especially-
administration is taking over and
Especially those that come from the bottom.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, but I guess what I mean more specifically is what message are the people at the top, like the chefs would see it first, or the administration or whatever. What message are they to get from the kid, like being there? Like what? Like how does it represent hope? Like
sacrifice, the sacrifice that one person does for a stranger, right? That's where Don Quixote also plays a part of it, I think, but also the idea of it's the message, not the messenger, that's important, right? V for Vendetta deals kind of with that. It's not who's under the mask, but it's, you know, the meaning of it. Snowpiercer, right? Like there's literally also him kind of doing something for Kid at the very end instead of for himself. The whole time it was him trying to get at the front for his own, you know, kind of reasoning. And then, you know, he ends up sacrificing himself for someone else. But in Don Quixote, it ends, if I'm not mistaken, with, you know, Don Quixote is, I mean, basically has dementia and all this other thing. And he has this, he thinks he's seeing these giants and people are even making fun of him and egging him on in these senile ideals of a forgotten time, of him trying to be the knight in shining armor and saving Dulcinea, and Dulcinea is actually not a princess and all these things. So I think he goes down through those levels. And at the very end of Don Quixote, they finally, Sancho Panza finally comes across to him with someone else and like explains to him that it's all like that he's crazy, or like this has all been in your imagination, come out of where you're at, this is, you know, it's all part of your dreams, this is not real, come back to reality. And once he realizes that he's not actually a knight and this has all been imagination and that he's in reality, Don Quixote dies. And I feel that kind of at the very end, when he gets to the very bottom, I don't think it would have gone up if he would have stayed on there. You know, I think it's
interesting.
I think it's part of like the ofrenda or whatever, the gift of the panaton or whatever it was.
Gift of life.
I think it was like the sacrifice. Like if you were in this person's shoes, what would you do? Like if you stay there, that's the biggest, you know, giving yourself up for someone else, I think is really the message, right? Or one of the messages, if you will. But so that's what I thought at the very end. It's like, I think he has accepted reality and his fate. And yeah.
What about you, Isaac? You've been very quiet down there.
As it would be down at the very bottom. I was watching the end, and I thought it was interesting because didn't the woman with terminal cancer say that the Asian woman didn't have a child? Mm-hmm. So I was thinking that much like the Virgin Mary had Christ out of I guess like a miracle, right? It was the same way with the woman, and being that the message originally was to preserve like a little bit of food to show that they try to break it up evenly between everybody, and then it ended up being the child. It almost seems like she survived because she was innocent, like what it says in the Bible, to what is it, like to have faith like a child, and that was the new message. So bringing up the child or another layer, Jesus Christ, a Messiah figure, that's what I took from it.
You know what that makes me think of, Isaac? And I hadn't had this thought. Maybe the message is, somebody in this Zoom just earlier said, like, well, how did the kid stay alive? I want to know. maybe the message is that everybody had to help keep that kid alive. Like
Yeah.
people had to share food and made sure the child was cared for, otherwise it wouldn't have eaten and stayed alive. So the message is to everybody else, like there's been a kid down here, and after, however many days it's been, 120 days or whatever, I don't know, because it's 30-day cycles, right?
Yeah.
So like they've been down there for, I don't know, at least a few months. In some kind of way, this kid stayed alive. So there's hope that as humanity, we've kept this kid alive unbeknownst to all of us.
Yeah, that's right. And they mentioned that nobody would know that they're doing those good deeds. So the fact that that child was alive shows that, just like it was with the food that they were saving. Yeah, that's what I take from it. That's what I see.
And that kid was all the way at the bottom, at least on that round, right?
Right.
And they had to go all the way to the bottom to find the kid.
Right. So there's like a message within that alone.
You have to keep your inner child alive.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. Be young. Don't grow up.
Yeah, because the older people were the ones that were acting like savages.
Like the oldest amongst them?
And that's what we see in reality now. I mean,
oh wow, that's super deep. That's a lot of thought that went into that. Like as a filmmaker, as a writer or whatever, like, yeah, you're right. The oldest people were the most savage. Besides the woman, but maybe she was just protecting her kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
You need to do what you need to do to protect your kin at all times, even if it's just your niece.
Even.
Yeah. And could that represent us? Like our inner child is deep within our structure. Like that prison could be a metaphor for the things that we take or that we hold value to, and we're leaving it, or we're keeping what really matters at the bottom and superficial things at the top.
Yeah.
So the vertical tower would be your ego?
Yeah. I was thinking about that too.
Release all ego and you find yourself.
Was it the hierarchy of what was it? The hierarchy of needs or something?
Oh, Maslow?
Yeah, Maslow's.
Wait, who's Maslow?
He's a psychologist who made the diagram for the hierarchy of human needs. And at the very bottom, like the first thing we need is food. And then the next thing we need is like shelter. And then from there it goes to like, then we need, I think, relationship. And then we need like significance or something like that, or accomplishment or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for introducing someone new to me right now.
So I just read a little bit of the director talking, which is kind of what I thought, and just the Don Quixote part, that it's them trying to Goreng and Baharat trying to get socialism to work, I guess, of sharing, but then they have to force people to share. So that kind of defeats the purpose, and to the point of killing. And his idea, or what he talks about, was that there aren't lower levels, like that's in his mind. And that he's put, to me, the lowest level doesn't exist. Goreng is dead before he arrives, and that's just his interpretation of what he felt he had to do. Which, in that final fight scene, I was like, man, they got beat up. Like, dude got a samurai sword, which also I was like, oh, they talked about the samurai sharpener, the samurai knife, and then there was a literally samurai sword. And I don't know if anyone got a kick out of that, but I sure did. I was like,
now I did. Oh my gosh. Samurai Plus.
Samurai Plus.
El Samurai Plus.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, they might be, because I was thinking Don Quixote, and I was like, they might be already dead. And then I guess they talked about that they did film an alternate ending with the girl arriving to the level 1 or level 0, I guess. But they were like, we'd rather take that out and let the audience come up with their own interpretation.
I wonder if that's available, like, to view, because a part of me kind of wants to see it, but part of me is like, doesn't, because like there probably was a reason why, like, not to show that. There was no need for that particular ending, like, you know, like.
I think the open I mean, again, right? It's so many different ideologies that we were watching, and you know, just the levels of that your mind goes through physically and mentally, right? I mean, I know I'm not gonna volunteer to sign up for any sort of, I don't care how many degrees you give me. After seeing this movie, I'm not, it's like, hey, spend 6 months. Cause he was at month 5.
Yeah.
Because I was like, in level 6, he was at month 5. So he had 1 more month, right? And that shows a lot also of like, you're in level 6, you're gonna get food, or level 7, I forget what level, 6 or 7. It's like, you're gonna get fed, you're there. You got 1 more month. And that's when he kind of sees the I guess his hope, or his like, this can actually work. But anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Like, man, that's part of, I guess that is part of like the mystery of the world. Like, how desperate is this world where like someone's willing to do this? Because they also bring up, like, even the lady, she claims that she's ignorant to like what really goes on. People have an idea of what the hole does to people, but no one really knows unless you're in it. And it's like, how desperate do you have to be to go in there voluntarily? You know, it's nuts. Because even the old man, he did have a choice: either go to a mental institution or the hole. And he picked the hole. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the doc, about Ramses the Second. Which,
oh God!
Again,
we had him murdered the shit out of that dog.
That made me think about pyramids and like all the servants, or a lot of the servants were also embalmed with the king, like their pets, their animal, all that. So I was like, oh, Ramses II, okay. That's what kind of got me thinking of Dante's Inferno, or just the different levels. Like, and is that like everything? Are we just in purgatory, right? Are we just biding our times? So,
I like the special effects in this movie. Just when the first body falls, and then he gets splattered in the face. Like, there's some forensics behind that. Like,
yeah. That's so. I was expecting it to happen. Like, I knew that was gonna happen eventually, but the moment that it did, like, it picked the right moment where it's like it caught you off the fucking guard, because you know your focus is on the old man with the knife and him explaining the story of how he got it, and so you're thinking, oh shit, is he gonna use the knife on the guy? Like, stop asking about the fucking knife, and then suddenly, fucking blood everywhere, and this dude like smashed his fucking head on the corner. It was like, I had such a reaction. That was like the biggest reaction I had in that movie, was that moment, because like I wasn't expecting it. Like, even him getting cut up and like people getting murked, you at least got a second to like, oh, this is obviously gonna happen. But that guy like falling out of the fuck nowhere, Jesus.
Cinematography was great too.
Cinematography, special effects, the lighting. I thought all that stuff was top notch, and it, you know, it all helped tell the story pretty darn well. It was all super important to like setting the mood of what we experienced. All top notch stuff, all really excellent filmmaking.
Yeah, and for a story to take place in essentially one room, I was engaged throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole time, it just held my attention.
Good scenery. All they had to do is just change levels, you know, like graphic design wise.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Yeah, because it all looked the same, but as soon as you saw that fucking number, it was like,
I know where the fuck I'm at.
Like, I'm so sorry, dude. It sets the tone so fucking quick. Like you knew like he was in fucking danger as soon as you saw there was a third digit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it really, you're with him when you see those numbers. Because when he
Yeah.
gets up to like the upper level, 6 or 8 or whatever it is, like I got really happy. I'm like, yeah, you get some food
Right.
finally. You get to eat some good stuff.
Speaking of food, I've been paged. I got I got food set
Paging
up.
Dr. Dino. Paging
Yeah.
Dr. Dino.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to
All right,
mosey on out.
let's wrap this up with some final thoughts then. Dino, you want to lead the charge?
Yeah, I'm probably still gonna be thinking about this movie for a while. Especially more and more. The more just talking now, more things came out about Don Quixote in my head. My thing though is like, where did he get the razor to shave? Because you're only allowed one thing, and everyone else we saw had long ass beards, and I'm just like, that dude already has Samurai Plus. Why does he need a little shitty big razor? So that took me out of the movie. Don't believe the rest of it. No.
I could.
Probably
I
took
really
it
knew
off
I was
of
watching a
somebody.
movie when the facial hair. That's amazing.
No, like I said, yeah, the Don Quixote thing, it's just gonna make me think more about it, and it's just about reality and our struggles, and yeah, everyone's picking movies that have so many different levels of our society, and just, it's really interesting, especially in the time we're right now, of looking into ourselves and being like, am I this guy, or am I Barat, or am I the girl? Am I am I part of the administration, or am I, it makes me question things and look at things differently. So
That's cool.
I recommend the movie.
Yeah. I'd say for people that, I guess, at my speed of watching films, like it's in my opinion, it's a really short film, and there's a lot of heavy stuff in it, and because a lot of the stuff is like hidden away or like not straight up said or shown, for sure, definitely give this film is definitely one of those movies that I think needs more than one viewing. Like, sure, if you could stomach the first viewing, which I'm sure most people can, like it's horrendous, it's terrible, but like once you get over that first viewing, give it for sure a second one, because I wished that I did, So for sure, give it. This one's the type of movie that you're going to watch more than once.
Agreed. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll give. Oh, Isaac, go ahead.
Okay. It does make me question, like, which one of the characters I would be, or if I would just starve to death, or actually eat somebody. I don't think I could ever eat somebody, but it does, like, kind of ask that question to the viewers, like, what would you do in that situation, and who are you? It's a good discussion to have with whoever's watched it. But I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed it, and being that it was only an hour and a half, it had a lot to say, and like JP said, definitely a lot of replay value. To, I mean, it'll be like The Matrix, where people just will continue to find different meanings and dissect the layers. So definitely a good watch.
I agree. I think this movie is going to be around for a very long while. It's one of those movies that's going to pick up steam over the years, where people are going to like, you got to see it, film classes, and you're just friends. Like, did you see The Platform? Never heard of it. Well, you need to. And it's a great discussion piece too. It's because it's a morality tale as well, and it's a social tale. I would highly recommend it. The one thing I question though is, Dino said that it makes you question yourself and where you stand in the world. Like, you all have kind of addressed that. The thing is, I fear that people who probably need to see it the most won't see any of that stuff in it. They'll just go right over their heads, and they'll deny it because, But then the people who notice it are the people who already notice it in the real world. They already notice the similarities. I hope that's not the case. Maybe if people watch this at a certain age, like where their brain is still developing, they'll be able to see that. I hope that people can watch this movie and it'll give them the ability to either change or the ability to see the world in a more broad sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
You want to sign us out, Naomi?
final thoughts on my selection was that we had an awesome conversation, that's for sure. And that's my final thought.
Well, you picked a really good movie. Steve is gone, so I guess I'll just say thanks for joining us on the Hoyo Dímelo Cinema Club. And we'll see you guys next week. What's the movie next week? Does anybody remember?
I think it's Dino's.
Dino's
choice.
Yeah, I
Dino.
think it's mine. So it would be The Great Dictator.
The Great Dictator.
Charlie
Really looking forward to
Chaplin's.
that one.
Yes, it's The Great Dictator. My bad. I'm sorry.
And you can find it on Canopy. All you need is a public library card, and you can sign up and you can watch it there.
Yeah, so basically it's free in Canopy. If you literally put The Great Dictator on Google and you put stream, there's like a bunch of links that literally has the entire movie online for free.
Yeah.
Or you can also rent it for like, I think $4 on Prime. And I'm also going to have it on the Oye Dímelo folder for movies in case someone needs it. So that way it's available for everyone since it's not in like a legit streaming platform for free.
Canopy is legit, bro. Don't.
Yeah, but not everybody has a library card. I do,
Okay.
but I'm sure there's other people that don't. But yeah,
That's good.
I'm super excited to watch it.
Me too.
All right. They already started eating the food. I can see them out in the outside, so I gotta go. I feel like
You gotta get on their level, or else you're gonna miss it.
There's a bottle of wine there. There's some rice and bok choy, and I'm not gonna get any food. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Is there
Bye, guys.
escargot?
Enjoy.
There might be.
Buen provecho.
Enjoy, Dino.
Gracias.
See you next
la
week,
semana
brother.
que viene.
Hasta la
Bye,
semana.
Dino. Enjoy.
Hasta luego.
Nos vemos. Bye, guys.
Oh, before we end this, I know that we technically ended it, but also got like a big reaction to when you found out that his favorite food was escargot, and the motherfucking old dude called him a snail before. I was like, oh my god,
That tripped me out too. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting for sure.
Oh god, my little snail.
A little snail.
I kind of realized that at the end. I'm like, hey, did this fool just call this fool snail? Does he know something?
Yeah.
He might know something.
I have no idea because I didn't watch it. So
I agree.
You'll do-
Definitely worth a second viewing down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
In both languages, that's for sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't watch it in English. I was like, I feel like with the animation you kind of get away with it, especially if the mouths just do this and not articulate. But as soon as I see someone like, you're obviously those words are not coming from you,
Yeah.
and you could get away with it with cartoons
The
because
passion
it's
is gone.
it's simplified, yeah. But like the emotion that you get out of someone's face and vocals at the same time, it's 1 + 1 = 2. You know, like I could not watch something where the added variable did not add up to 2. So yeah, like as soon as I heard the English, I was like, nope, fuck that.
I'm bad at algebra, but I understood that. Oh, God. I love you guys. Peace
Love
out.
you guys too. Peace out. See you next week.
Bye.
see you
Bye.
next week.
week.
Peace.
Hey, I'm Jason Echols, and thanks for watching the Oye Dímelo Network. There are many videos here to watch. Pick one, click it, don't go anywhere until you do, and then subscribe. We're happy to have you.